Come on. Do I sound like I'm joking? Do I sound like I'm playing? When you look into my eyes, you understand what I'm saying? Let me say it to you slowly, and it may sound scandalous. I don't think that you can handle this.
All right, let's move on to Sunday Night Football. The 9-4 Green Bay Packers are heading to Seattle to face the 8-5 Seattle Seahawks. It's a big game for the playoffs. The Packers are 3-point favorites. The projected total is 46.5 points. That means Vegas is telling us that the Packers will score 24 3/4 while the Seahawks score 21 3/4. As far as injuries, Romeo Doubs is still in concussion protocol. And also on defense, the Packers have various injuries, especially to their linebackers and secondary. Hopefully later in the week it'll become a little bit clearer, and hopefully most of those guys will play. On Seattle's side, their big injury is Kenneth Walker, their starting running back. He has a calf injury, and the coach has said that they will get more tests done early in this week. So we'll have a little bit understanding when Kenneth Walker is coming back. By the way, his backup, Zach Charbonnet, had himself quite a game, 193 total yards last week. Mike Steph, what do you think about this game? Can Seattle take out Green Bay?
It better not. That's another team that cost me some bread. Yeah, I had a bad week last week, if you can't tell. But I'll start on the opposite side with the Packers. The Packers lost a heartbreaker last week against the Lions, which is one of the few things that I accurately called. I told you it was going to be a nail biter, and it was a nail biter. You know, the Lions won at the gun with a field goal. But still, the Packers are 9-4, and that's still good enough to hold a solid playoff position in the NFC. Jordan Love has been incredible during this hot streak, and after this game, they have a layup versus the Saints. Then they go on the road for a showdown versus the Vikings before wrapping up the season against the Bears. If they can keep Josh Jacobs rolling, it would be possible for them to take out the quote-unquote 12th man out in the Pacific Northwest by keeping the clock under control and staying balanced with the play calling. Plus, the Packers are 5th in the league on the ground, averaging 144 yards per game. So if I was them, I would play to their strengths. Not saying that Jordan Love isn't their strength, but just that balance of play action, take the deep shots, use Christian Watson. Listen, they have a very multifaceted attack. Now, going on to the Seahawks are 8-5. They're leading the NFC West by 1 game over the Rams and 2 games over the 49ers and the Cardinals. This is an interesting stretch of games. Meaning the Seahawks, end up with 3 straight games against NFC North teams, which is a quirk in the schedule right now. That's crazy. Like, you're coming down the stretch and you're playing another division straight. Geno is having a good year yards-wise, but can we really say a 14 touchdown to 12 interception ratio is elite? Think about that. For all the yards that he's thrown for about 3,400 yards so far with 4 games remaining. So he's well on his way to a 4,000 yard passing season. But that ratio, that means he's a mistake waiting to happen. Out of their 4 straight victories, one was a miracle win over the Niners in which they came back, and the other one was against the imploding Jets. So they very easily could be 6-7 along with the rest of the division, and the Rams could be up top of the NFC West. But we're not talking about revisionist history here. We're talking about the here and now. So Sunday Night Football, Green Bay, favored by 3.5. Yeah, I'll take that. The over-under, I will be going over.
I like it. I think I'll go with you on the over. That 3 points is pretty interesting because, to me, 2 things happen here. One, the Seahawks are playing much better. They've won 4 of their last 5, having lost 4 of their 5 before that. I think they figured something out here. But the Packers are just a really good team that only lose to true contenders. There are 4 losses on the season. 2 of them are Detroit. I think Philadelphia. I forget who the other team was, but it was also a good team. So can the Packers lose to this Seahawks team as they are constructed now? I think they can, but I wouldn't bet on it. So I will ride with you. I'll take the Packers minus the 3. I don't feel very confident about it because I do think the Seahawks are ready to put up a fight. By the way, speaking of playoff chances for them, the Packers are all but in. They have a 97% chance of making the playoffs one way or the other. Meanwhile, the Seahawks are at 65%. That whole division's still in it, but Seahawks are in pretty good shape.
This is a 19 Media Group presentation.
Well, I mean, yeah, for probability stakes, but 65 was just barely passing in school. Geno. I think Geno finished middle school when he was 15. I can't stand Geno. I'm referring to you.
I didn't say it.
You might have.
Okay, yeah, you just don't pay attention.